If you enjoy hearing these eerie tales and want more to help you drift off or keep you up at night, don't forget to tap the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Can I get in your car? I live in a small town. Call it Middle Vale. It's a little bit of a dump, but it's small, quiet, and tucked away in the mountains. Most people live in Middle Vale because it is affordable, and then they commute into a big city nearby where all the jobs actually are. The main highway exit that leads to the city is a couple miles to the north of Middle Vale, on a road that leads north to the next largest town, Westchester. Right there on the road to Westchester, next to those highway exits, is the local Walmart. Early one morning, I was commuting to work and stopped by that Walmart before getting on the highway. I was going to get a box of donuts to share with the office later that morning. The parking lot for the Walmart is never more than 20% full at any one time. Middle Vale is a small town, and Westchester has its own Walmart. That morning, there were only 2 pickup trucks parked in the lot as I pulled up in my little car. I tend to park far away from whatever building I am going into. I don't know why I do this. I guess I just like to walk. So I pulled up into a space about 50 yards away from the Walmart entrance, even though there were practically no other vehicles around me at all. As I was pulling into the parking space, I saw a diminutive little person standing against the front wall of the building. It was still early, and the sun had not come up yet. The person was half a football field away, so I could not make them out very well. I remember seeing the small person standing over by the building. I remember looking down just long enough to make sure my car was in park. Then, I remember looking up, and that person was no longer against the front of the building. She was standing just outside my passenger window. It was a young woman. She was short and had short brown hair. She was standing right outside my window and kind of looking down at me. She said something to me through the glass. I am pretty sure it was, "Can I get in your car?" My instinct was to get out of my car and get in the building where there would be other people. I did not know what this person wanted, but I knew it wasn't anything good. "Can I help you, ma'am?" I asked, but I asked this as I purposefully strode towards the building. "I need a ride to Westchester. Can I get in your car?" "Ma'am, I'm not headed that way." "Well, I need a ride to Middle Vale. Can I get in your car?" By then I was at the entrance. This person had kind of followed me and was now halfway between the Walmart entrance and my car. "I'm not headed that way either, ma'am," I said, and walked in through the doors. Now, I do possess some situational awareness. If this person was frightened like they were just trying to get away from a stalker, I would have sensed that and probably asked the store manager to call the police. I did not pick up any of those vibes from this person. Also, she didn't really come across as a druggie or prostitute. She just really wanted my permission to get inside my car. I got my donuts, paid for them, and walked out. When I stepped back outside, the parking lot was completely empty except for my car and the 2 trucks. The sun had by then come up over the hills to the east. "Help me. There is a man pretending to be my dog." "My name is Sydney. I am 13 years old. My best friend's name was Honey. She was a 9-year-old Goldie. The man pretending to be Honey looks like he is around 40 years old. He wears her skin, and my family believes it is her. They brought him home 3 weeks ago. My mom cried when she saw him sitting on the porch. My dad dropped to his knees, calling him our sweet girl, as he scratched behind Honey's floppy ear, reaching his white, pink human ear. He didn't seem to notice how Honey's ear was slightly falling with each scratch. Danny, my little brother, hugged his neck and buried his face in the man's skin, rubbing the rolls of his back like it was fur. But it's not Honey. It's a naked man, wearing my best friend's fur. Honey didn't walk like that. She didn't stumble over her own paws, or, well, hands and knees, because that's what they are. Hands and knees. He crawls awkwardly, shifting his weight like he's never done it before. like he's learning how to be a dog. The worst part is, I think he believes it. He barks when my parents tell him to, his deep and manly voice sounding nothing like my Honey. He growls when Danny plays tug of war, getting in a dog-like playful position as drool drips from his chin and his body is on full display. He even wags what's left of her tail. It's unsettling. It makes me cry. He sits by the door when the leash comes out, panting with this strange, unnatural smile like he's excited, like he wants to be walked. I tried to tell my mom. I told her it wasn't Honey, but she just stroked his head and said, "Don't say that, Sydney. Look how happy she is to be home." The first night he got here, I heard scratching outside my window. I peeked through the curtains and saw him in the backyard, digging with his bare hands. His nails were caked with dirt, and he was muttering to himself between shallow, panting breaths. I stayed up all night listening to him claw at the ground. The next morning, I found out why. When I went outside, there was a fresh hole near the fence where he had been digging. It was sloppy, dirt scattered everywhere, and right at the bottom of it was Honey's old collar. It was torn, the leather shredded, and the metal buckle was stained dark red. I didn't hear him coming. "You shouldn't have gone out here," he said. His voice was low, and when I turned around, he was crouched by my legs, his head tilted like he was trying to understand me. His hands were dirty, trembling as he reached for me, but I bolted before he could get any closer. "Honey, come here, girl," my dad called out, and he went back to barking and tail wagging, trotting to him on hands and knees, but not before looking at me with his tongue out. Since then, he won't leave me alone. He follows me around the house, sniffing at my toes and licking my legs. Anytime I'd yell at him to stop, my family would tell me I've turned into a dog abuser. They'd make me pet him, and he would bark happily. He sits outside my door at night, whining softly, scratching at the wood. Last night, he finally pushed the door open. "Scoot over," he growled, climbing into my bed without waiting for me to answer. He curled up beside me, his knees pulled to his chest, and rested his head on my pillow. He smelled like dirt and sweat and something I don't want to name. I didn't sleep at all. I just lay there, stiff and silent, as he muttered and whimpered in his sleep, his breath warm against the back of my neck. I could hear every human word that left his lips, and yet my family doesn't believe me. They really think it's Honey. I am the only one mourning my best friend. I don't think he's going to stop. And I'm scared. Shallow waters. Hello. You can call me B27. Don't ask why. But when I was younger, less than 7 maybe. 5 or something like that. I remember something. Strang. It scared me so badly that I almost started to cry, but I couldn't. No tears, just a small, sharp gasp. I was playing in the shallow parts of the waters, not because I couldn't swim, but because I was rolling around and playing. My memory is shattered for a number of reasons, so sorry if I don't give too much detail. As I was playing, I started feeling sad and almost weird, unsettling, no matter where I sat or stood. After a few minutes of tearing up, I started laughing and playing again. I don't know if what I grabbed that day had anything to do with my emotions, but considering they started acting up before the problem started, it's very possible. I say I'm not sure because I was born with a few mental health problems. But anyways, back to the story. As I was playing, I had rolled around in the water. Same spot, twice. But the second time around was, well, like I said, if I could at the time. If I could have cried in that moment, I would have. I remember wanting to scream, but nothing. What I had grabbed will make me feel weird for the rest of my life. I had first initially thought it was a mask, but there was grass and skin. It felt like hard bone. My fingers had landed in the eye holes. It was gross. When I moved my arm up, it came with it. Thinking about it now, it looked like some carved the front of a human skull off. then flattened that into a sick mask. I felt scared, confused, and sick all at once. I have had some weird things happen in my life.